Hello, hello. Welcome to the green room. I'm your boy Focus, and this is the lovely
BellaBellz. Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday.
Hope everybody is in good health tonight.
Still alive.
Yes, this stuff has been crazy.
How's your week?
It was good until today,
Oh.
and today was pretty good until I was on my way to the show. Went
Okay.
to, both of us got to mute our phones.
Oh, don't talk about me. You need to be careful.
I'm all bad.
Mine didn't get caught.
Excuse me.
I heard yours.
Okay. But yeah, I went to, is that still me?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
TT,
I'm tripping.
where you at? We need you. See what happens. One day you're gone. That's what happens.
Right? Shouts out to Tristan.
Nah.
He's probably at home watching. He had to stay home today because he's been sick in bed for the last couple of days. Oh, and then our tech guy just had his volume up. So on the way down to the show tonight, I stopped off to get some pizzas. Well, actually, I wasn't even planning on getting pizzas. I was going to get some little finger sandwiches and stuff. Went to 3 different stores, and none of them had anything.
Anything?
Nothing.
Like,
We even thought about getting chicken, and the chicken looked like it was 2 days old. It was nasty. So right down the street was a Little Caesars, and we were running out of time. So I was like, let's just go grab a couple of pizzas. And the only thing they had was cheese pizzas. So,
nothing wrong with
and in the
cheese
meantime,
pizza.
I got a flat tire.
Oh, no. Okay, so
So-
that's the real kicker.
Thankfully, my guy Sheldon was meeting me to go get the food.
Uh-huh.
So I was able to just grab the gear and hop in the car. But even then, I left some of the gear in the car, so he had to go back and get it.
Oh. Okay.
You're welcome.
Well, pop your collar.
So
If it wasn't for you.
forgive me for being a couple of minutes late this evening, but we ran into some technical difficulties.
Well, I've always got difficulties and why I'm running late. It's never my fault. I was going to blame it on the rain, but it didn't rain, so.
We actually had really nice weather today.
Yeah, we had great weather.
surprisingly.
Yeah. Wonderful weather.
How
Hopefully.
was your week?
Well, my week was interesting. There's all this coronavirus going on, conversation. I didn't bring it up last week. I mean, it's been going on, we could have brought it up last week, but we didn't. Because we didn't really think it was that big of a deal. The symptoms, seemed to be similar to a regular cold or flu.
Yeah.
Treated the same way until people started dying, until government started getting on TV, talking that talk. You got to read between the lines.
Yeah, I couldn't believe, I got an email today.
Uh-huh.
I mean, most people with kids in school got the email today.
Oh yeah, of course.
That all the schools are shut down, and I expected them to shut down for a couple of weeks. I didn't expect they was going to be shut down until the end of next month.
April 24th.
Yeah.
The reason being is, at first it came in kind of fast and nobody really super understood what was going on with it.
Yeah.
And now I guess they're indicating that it takes a little while for you to understand you even have the virus.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it's contradicting. There's other things that I hear too. From the moment that you get, it only takes 10 minutes to get it basically. If you're going to get it, it only takes about 10 minutes for you to get it. And then pretty much about 10 days or so, you won't really know for sure. And then the recovery period comes in, which is the next 14 days.
Yeah.
That's why it's so long. They want you to make sure, if you do have it, and then, you go through the period of drinking your juice, washing your hands,
Just so
upping your
everybody
vitamin
knows,
C.
if you catch me coughing, it's because I had a head cold. I had been checked out. It was not the virus. I'm good. And I'm already better. It's just a lingering cough in my throat.
A head cold,
So,
huh?
yeah.
How exactly does one get a head cold? I'm just, what I mean? Is it some brain damage going on? Or was there
Oh, I've been
too
had
much
brain
excitement?
damage.
No.
I've been had brain
I'm
damage.
kidding with you. Elderberry. I told you about taking that elderberry. Within minutes, you would have.
You told me so many things. I could not even keep track of what all you were saying. You need to write me a list.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But the elderberry, just for that chest part, is not for, I don't know what it does for flu or anything like that. It might help.
That's what still
But just to get
got
that
me.
little
It's just
chest opened
it's
up.
just right at the top of my chest. Just a little rattle.
Yeah, so the goal now, according to the news, Eventually, if the numbers don't stop, I guess they're looking for a number like 2,500 fatalities. If that number comes up, then everybody will have to stay home.
Yes.
Martial law.
I heard.
So colleges are closed. I mean, I'm surprised that elementary schools waited so long to even close because the children, are younger and
they have weaker immune systems.
Right.
So
the colleges
they should
were
have
closed
been
last
one
week.
of the first ones to get shut down.
But money talks. People pay for school and they make decisions based on the money they're spending there. So I guess government, public schools, they kind of get the last the last gist of everything.
Yeah.
So, but I'm happy about that. I mean, a lot of parents are going crazy trying to figure out what they're going to do with their kids. Hey, keep your kids alive.
Yeah, Sheldon asked me to babysit for the next 6 weeks.
But Sheldon got like 5 baby moms and 15 kids. I mean, really.
She put him on
I'm
blast.
just saying, that's not fair. You ain't even. You need a daycare, not a homie.
I got the teacher.
Just because I look like an old school teacher.
Oh no, he gonna teach him some stuff, but it may not be what
Teach
you
him how to
like.
sit in the corner and be duct taped to the wall.
Good luck.
That's called discipline.
I tried
Right.
it.
Real quick, throw me those things on the towel. I want to or on the table.
Yeah.
We have our first official sponsor for the show.
Yay!
Okay? And I have a gift for you guys.
Yes.
This is a brand called, and since we're talking about coronavirus, it's kind of ironic. This
Here we go.
brand is called Pacific Northwest Sickness.
Okay.
Okay. It was created by my guy, DA. It's his brand. He's got a whole clothing line that goes with it.
Mhm.
But these are little sweat towels.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have one for each of you,
Mhm.
and because I know how hard you work on a movie set.
And we know how hard you work out. At
So thank you.
2297 Federal Way. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, here you go.
Where you work. This is where
See?
you can find them, or maybe not find them.
You gonna mess around?
That's where he says he goes. No, it's the wrong address. I'm just kidding. He
It
don't
better
be
be
there.
the wrong address. 'Cause
Hey, no, I just made that up.
I don't tell people where I'm at until after I left. That's how I got the windows busted out of my Cadillac.
Okay. I've been wondering why is he here so late at the gym when he posts? I'm like, oh, you already did that earlier. Okay.
Right. So, before we introduce our guest, let's play a little video to show some of what he's involved in, and then when we come back from the video, we'll do an introduction and get right into talking to him.
Alrighty.
And we're back. That was a fun little video that the crew from Hard Out put together when they were working on budgeting and scripts and things like that. But here on the couch with us today is Duncan.
Yeah.
And why don't you tell the people exactly what your role was with the movie Hard Out?
Sure. This camera?
This camera here.
Fantastic.
Sorry.
No problem at all. Hi, I'm Duncan Star-Boszko. I was the writer, one of two. I did the initial script and then most of the rewrites after that. I was a costume designer and I also acted in Hard Out.
Nice.
Awesome.
So what was your part in Hard Out? What role did you play?
I
or can you say?
No, I can say.
Okay, because I'm a boss. I can say.
I wrote it. I played the production designer.
Okay.
Because that's a role that I usually
Play.
take
In
on
real life.
in real life. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I wore a French hat and just dressed as stereotypically artsy as possible.
Okay.
Yeah. It
And
was
so,
great.
so did you? Sorry.
No, I was just because a lot of people that are watching, nobody's actually seen the movie yet.
Because
No,
it's
it's
not
not
out
out.
yet.
So,
Yeah.
can you give a brief synopsis of what the movie actually is?
So, Hard Out is essentially it's what if a commercial set tries to do everything right and then everything goes wrong and it tumbles into this cartoonish bar fight. Yeah.
Hey, if I understand right, you guys have no problem breaking the fourth wall in this one, correct?
Yeah, there's
you
some
wind
moments,
up
yeah.
actually seeing that it's seeing behind the scenes kind of
Yeah.
as part of the movie.
It starts out as if it is more of a real beer commercial,
Okay.
and in fact we did partner with a local brewery, local
Okay.
brewing company, Flying Lion, I think. So we're making a fake ad for them, and then one of the extras, who was a real bar patron, messes it up, makes the real
Okay.
actor get mad, and it ensues from there.
All hell
It
breaks
escalates. Yeah.
Interesting. So what I was going to ask earlier about your role, since you're normally behind the camera, you're normally behind on the other end, you're not normally being filmed. How does it feel to be on the acting side of it? Do you like it more on the acting side, or do you like it more on the production side? Or is it different, or however you feel about it?
I don't know. I do acting work.
Mhm.
I'm represented. I've done a bunch of other stuff, but I would say that it's 70% production design work, crew work, and the 30% acting work. Just because one, for independent films, there's a lot more need for crew
Okay.
than there is for actors, because there's so many people in Seattle who want to act that the market is so high.
Yeah.
And there's only so many roles.
Right.
But I thoroughly enjoy acting,
Okay.
and I don't see myself doing production design for the rest of my life. I don't know. Most of the time that I do production design, it's on the more strategically designing process.
Okay.
So I will assemble a team
Mhm.
to help me achieve what I want,
Okay.
and that relies a lot on color patterns,
Okay.
and a lot on people who know how to solder and build more than I do, because I live in a house with my parents and I do not have room or the space
Yeah.
for a solid station or any of those
Yeah.
requirements. But I know how to design, I know color theory, and I know it looks good. So I'm able to give people a direction.
For those who don't know what that is, what is that? What is
Production design in general?
Yeah, in general. Like,
Ooh.
what exactly is that?
It can be a lot of things.
Right.
And I am like...
You just gave us like one little bit of it, and I'm like, there's more than that.
I'm not an expert by any means. Like,
Yeah.
I've only been doing it, I think, professionally for like 2-3 years, like making money from doing it. And I'm very much small fry. Like, I'm not doing commercial design for Microsoft or Amazon. I've worked on those sets as like a set dresser or an art assistant, but for independent sets, that's where your creative aspect, your creative brain, your creative thoughts, all that comes to fruition. You, as a production designer, basically get to take the script and go over it and design the world that these characters live in. You ask, like, what choices would they make? What would they have in their room? What would they have on their bedside table? What colors does the director see in like their daily lives? What color pattern do they want, like, in their room?
Yeah.
For example, if this was a set, you know, it's greens, it's blues, it's browns.
Yeah.
And I guess, you know, off gray, but this is sort of blue.
Yeah.
And so you'd have that color palette, and I'd have to go out, make a list,
Find
and
stuff that
find
goes with
objects
it.
that goes with the color pattern and the theme.
Yeah.
Because, like, one thing can be, like, it can be an eyesore, but if
Yeah.
everything works, then nobody notices it. You've done your job right. Yeah.
When do you know enough? You know how since it's like art. When do you know enough is enough? Like, okay, leave it alone. Don't touch it one more time. Don't change it to a different color.
Probably never really feel that way.
Once when you see it in the monitor, and
Okay.
then after the actor messes with it, because
Okay.
they do.
Yeah.
I love actors when I'm an actor, but when I'm not an actor,
Don't touch anything.
sometimes they break things, and it's a little annoying. But it all works out, and really I think that those two creative mediums, acting and production design, they work so well together, because if your film is well designed, then the actor has more of a world to play in. Like, if they can open a drawer and see, like, a letter that their character wrote when they were 5 years old, even if that's not in the script,
Right.
like, it adds something for their character.
Yeah, I imagine it would help them become that character more. The more real the set feels.
Yeah.
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 So there's a lot of people depend on you not only to make it look good and make it look real, but also kind of help with a little bit of their acting, you know.
It gives them backup.
Right.
It gives them support.
Some-
Obviously, the actor still has to
Of
put in
course,
there
of
100%. But
a little added content.
yeah.
You know.
I would
to help.
imagine there's a lot of stuff that the actors, or sometimes even the directors, don't even realize that they wanted in the scene until you put it all together.
Oh my God, yeah. There was a Portland film that came up, and I was working on it, and we had to. This dead kid was like a tech whiz, so he had all these bits and bobbles, and the director gave me free reign to design whatever the fuck we wanted. Right?
Oh, fun.
Can we swear?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
We had our first one though, so congratulations. Always gonna remember this day.
One of the things we made was, like, it was a cassette recorder that, like, it was attached to your arm, and you could actually, like, press the buttons and put the tape in.
iPad or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly, right? So one of my art director, who's like second in command on the art chain of command, if there are two, the word can be synonymous with production designer. But they brought in like one of those singing bass fishes, but like it was stripped, and like you could see the coils, and the director loved it. Like they picked it up and they were like carrying it around the entire day.
That's
just like
awesome.
it was It was great. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
A lot of fun, huh?
So you said you've been doing this, I guess technically professionally, for
2 years.
just a couple of years.
Just a couple of years, yeah.
So how did you get started doing production design?
Probably through friends.
Just somebody needed somebody to take on that role.
Yeah, I think so. I honestly don't remember exactly which film was like the first time I worked production design.
Okay.
Because I know when I first started, I was like in the assistant director position
Okay.
in films, like here, and I was like, I hate this. I don't ever do this again. Art looks fun. It's actually no, I do remember. I was an art director on a short film that has not been released, to the chagrin of everyone involved.
Oh boy.
Yeah. We won't go into it.
Okay.
I like going and stuff.
But it's nice. I don't know. Some of it's, I have the footage, some of it's on my reel. So it still looks good.
Right on. At least you got to use some of it for something.
Yeah.
But that was the moment when you realized.
That was the moment when I realized that I enjoy the people that work in our team
Okay.
more. Like, just
Aw.
I mean, yeah, the majority of people that I work in our team with are my best friends.
Right.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Like, I will always employ them if I get a job
Right.
because I can trust that they can do things and on time, and I trust their opinions.
Right.
They're just inherently creative people who most of the time can control their stress, or if I'm stressed, they can control my stress. So,
Yeah, that comes in handy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So back to the actual hard out.
Yeah.
Where did the concept for this come from?
The original, I was given by Ben a brief script like treatment that he had talked with another writer
That's cute.
about, and we liked bits and pieces of it, but he wanted to go in a different direction with it,
Okay.
and I was like, I mean, I can write a version of this, and so I did. And you know, it's like a short 5 pages, so you know, what the heck. And we did that, and he loved it, and we both got very, very excited.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
It's all easy breezy, just so simple. just a few pages.
Yeah,
It
just
sounds simple.
Just a few
Right,
pages,
that's what I was
and then it got increasingly more complex. Still short, but there were more stunts involved because what he really wanted to do with the film was like make it this sort of haven of all the Northwest stunt actors,
Oh,
because we have
nice.
such a large community
Yeah.
of those, and so he wanted to combine that with like as many stunts as humanly possible
Yeah.
within a budget. And you know, he went through a lot of stuff. Like, he got stressed out, but he really pulled through. Like, it is an achievement. It is a fantastic achievement for Ben. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The first time I actually met him. Oh, speak of the devil.
Hey,
Ben just walked in.
Can I hit this real quick?
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
I get my stuff together. Calling me out from a distance.
So, actually, I think what we will do,
Technically,
since
I'm not on set.
our second guest just showed up, why don't we just go to the slideshow? We'll let that play while we get situated with Ben, and then when we come back, we'll have Duncan and Ben both here on the
And
couch.
Trina.
and Trina, our
And
AD.
Trina, yes. So go to the slideshow, please. make adjustments to so that we could seat everybody.
Yeah, wait.
Trina, come sit next to us. Come on.
No, I'm chill. Good.
You sure?
I can remove this pillow when it's like
Trina!
6 inches.
Come on.
Hi, Sam. Oh, right there.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
What, am I not down the road?
You're not in the shot. Come on.
Yeah.
Great.
Great.
Oh, wait.
No,
Make sure my
we
phone's
we have
on.
them adjusted so that she was.
I thought they
There
just
we
Come sit
go.
by me.
Fantastic.
Nobody wants to come sit by you. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come.
See how it
Come.
is?
Okay.
Oh, and then we should. All right. Yeah,
There we
that
go.
makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Here, just get in my lap then.
Huh?
That's
Ooh.
good.
No, you good.
It's all warm and stuff.
I know it is all one.
Oh, yours is
Oh,
warm.
crap.
Oh no, that's okay.
My mom.
We in there? All right.
That's everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shit.
Hand me the merch.
There we go.
Oh,
This?
There we go.
Your sweat time?
Thank you.
We're
Oh,
making
no.
minor adjustments because so far we've only had single guests.
Not single, like they
No,
don't have a
Individual
significant
guests.
other.
Let me, I'll fix that.
You know what kind of guests we got. You know, they be wondering who's with who and who's not.
So let me
I be
introduce
wondering.
who we have on the couch now.
Oh, okay.
We met Duncan already. We talked with him for a while. In the middle, we have Ben, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce your last name.
Why? It's just vowels, man.
Come on.
A,
You can do
E, O, U. Did you learn that?
If I can do it, you
Use
can do
your
it.
throat chakra.
Where's my? I have it written down just in case I had to sound it out.
Give it a shot. Give it a shot.
You give it a shot.
It's
Okay, I'm gonna give it a shot. Yeah. Nope,
It starts with an L.
I'm not doing it.
Wow.
So it's Leiataua.
Leiataua.
Okay.
See?
Hearing it
Yeah.
said
Easy.
puts my mind at ease. That was way easier to say, even though I didn't say it.
Right.
Leiataua.
Leiataua.
Oh, that's not bad.
And here we have Trina, and I'm sorry, I don't know your
Griffin.
last name. Griffin. And why don't you guys tell us what was your actual roles on Hard Out? What was what did you do for Hard Out?
I created the story.
Okay.
I co-directed. I produced. I did the marketing, and
All the stressful stuff.
yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, all the cool stuff. Cool stuff.
That's cool.
Don't make you're making that face, man.
You
Don't
did a
make
good
that
job.
face. All right.
Yeah, because he just got done breaking down how everything he was doing was so cool. And then here you come, cooler. No, I'm kidding.
No,
I'm starting stuff.
Yeah, there's no way I could like get down on like some writing, and it's just not my forte. It's just
No,
not my
no,
forte.
just
You leave that to
messing.
the professionals. Mm.
And
So-
Trina?
I came in as the assistant director,
Okay.
and then I became the producer.
There you go.
Um,
And she wanted to do this to me the whole time.
I did slap him a couple
Oh
of
yeah,
times.
yeah, yeah. She did.
He started liking it.
I did
So I
like
stopped.
You have to come up with a new
I
approach.
had to figure out another way to get him to do what I wanted. Because then it became like, I'm just going to mess up because I want her to slap me.
Right. I'm like, oh, I didn't get slapped today.
I know, right?
What do I gotta mess up?
It's like that Bill Cosby. I can't go to bed without a good butt whooping. Just, whip me so I can sleep.
Really?
No.
Cosby?
Yes. Bill Cosby, you gotta hear that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking the same thing, but I was like, she's going somewhere with this. Just follow, just mind your business.
Keep up.
Right.
Stay in your lane.
Right.
Okay, so we had talked to Duncan about how this all came about,
Yeah.
how the idea came about, and apparently when you first got it, it was a slightly different story.
Mm. Yeah.
And then you and Duncan worked together and kind of finessed what it ended up being.
Tweak.
Yeah, I think what happened, the story kind of evolved as more alcohol was introduced in sort of ideation. Sort of,
The bar became bigger.
the bar became bigger, the stunts became more grandiose, and simple things like a slate turned into like nunchucks, and an XLR cord would then turn into like a whip.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. So the more, so
I wanted to get into it.
See,
but
that
go
whole
ahead.
slapping thing.
All right.
yeah,
Oh, that introduced
Yeah.
the whip. Oh, I see what's going on here. And you guys are on the famous couch, so you know what goes down there.
I always wind up coming back to
They said
just
it.
being
we
a
need
casting
sanitizer
couch.
for the couch?
No.
Are you okay,
I think I need Lysol.
Oh, okay. It's not that kind of couch.
Not for that, yeah, not for what you're gonna catch on the couch.
Ah, okay.
We've officially gone off the rails. Once again,
He always talking French to me. We, oh, that's we. Every time something happens, we.
No.
So how long did it take from when you first got the original idea until you were finally on set starting to shoot?
I feel like a lot of that is sort of based on your availability. We have a full-time job, a part-time job, or something like that. The amount of money you have to sort of throw at your project. I mean, the first sort of iteration of Hard Out was a bit more, it was a simpler sort of like a micro short, if you will.
Okay.
And it just sort of grew from there. And yeah, it really depends on a lot of different sort of factors too. Sort of, it's like you never know how long something is going to take, or how much resources that you're going to sort of throw into something. But I mean, for me, I just wanted to do it. Just get it done, and just start the whole process, and just not be just sort of wishing that I could have done this or I could have done that, or it was a very spur of the moment kind of like the way everything sort of came about. There was structure and sort of pre-production. Don't make that face. But
Yeah.
but it's just for a lot of creatives and a lot of people that want to create a film or a short film or whatever it might be. I mean, the first hardest step is to just say, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then I feel like after that, sort of, you just surround yourself with like people that are talented, that sort of are just ridiculously just administratively focused and sort of keep you on task. And I feel like Hard Out came together because of people like Trina, people like Duncan, the majority of the people that were, I mean, not a majority, but everyone that was part of the whole process, from actors to production crew. It's just being new at filmmaking. Hard Out for me and my business partner, who couldn't be here today, is it was almost like an experiment, if you will, albeit a very expensive experiment, but nonetheless rewarding in its own way. So, yeah, the only advice I would have for anyone who is on the fence about creating your own content, no matter where you are sort of financially or situations that whatever it might be, I was like, if you're in a position that you can create, make it.
Absolutely.
Make something. I was like, if you don't have much money or you have a little bit of money, I was like, if that's the major factor, just do it. Just get off your ass and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're still going to learn something out of it.
Oh yeah, I learned a lot of what not to do. I was like, if anything, I've learned, yeah.
And listen to your AD.
Yes.
Yeah, when your
And
AD speaks, listen.
to your AD. Yes, very important.
You just mentioned something which I like. You said for those who maybe don't have a lot of money, don't have a lot of experience, but have this great idea, just go ahead and do it. So when you only have so much to work with,
Right.
and you feel, I'm sure you're gonna feel a lot like really overwhelmed, right?
Right.
And so you're like, okay, everything costs and everything needs support. So which one goes for? Name the first three that should go first.
Okay.
I don't even know if I conveyed the question correctly.
No, you did.
Yeah, okay.
I completely get it. But
Okay.
I feel like the most important thing to sort of, number one is just sort of commit to yourself that you're going to do it.
Okay.
You're going to tell a story or do something. That's the biggest sort of hurdle as far as creatives sort of come up with. And then after that is surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded, people that don't sort of like sit there and like, that's a bad idea. I don't think that's right.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. This and
Where's
that.
the solution?
It,
If you
it's
take
just,
away something, are you giving something back?
right.
And also,
Absolutely.
may I piggyback?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So making sure that at least your script, I like to use the script as like a roadmap. It is
Okay.
not the actual, like, you gotta stick strictly to it.
Yeah,
But
that
make
didn't
sure,
happen at all.
make sure your script is at least, kind of like solid.
Okay.
And yes, you can add as you go,
Uh-huh.
but make sure that you know where you're going, so that way you know how to fill the characters with who you need, so
Uh-huh.
you're not like doing too much or doing too little at the
Okay.
last minute.
Yeah.
So that pull that you
Push
guys
and
have,
push and pull, push and pull.
That can
well,
happen.
I heard it was a pull and pull.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you got to push back. If you was going
I
for
just
that.
started pushing back. Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
There,
Come on, do it my way.
that can happen with money or without money.
Right,
I was
right,
like,
right.
it depends on, you can sort of have a passion project or some sort of, whatever it might be, but if you're giving something back, whether it's through footage, like, it was like after we finish creating our film or our project, we'd like to compensate you with sort of footage to add on to your reel, or whatever those sort of things might be. I felt like since Hard Out was my first project, I wanted to be a bit different and actually offer, I think it was like 70% of all the monies that were sort of put together. I was like, all of that went back to the talent, back to the production team, and that was important to me. I was like, I've been an actor. I quit my corporate job a number of years ago and decided to get into the arts, acting, sort of music full time. And as an actor a while back, I kept booking gigs that were great. I mean, they were passion projects for either fellow actors or directors or industrials, whatever it might be, but I mean, there was no compensation. The compensation was sort of set up as like, we can give you some footage or give you something.
Yeah.
But for me, if it was my first project and Hard Out was my very first one, I wanted to give everyone something. We're not calling it pay. We just call it a stipend, and it's just a sign of respect. It's a sign of that's just how I wanted to do things.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. So, and if you can't do that for your first project or whatever you're doing, that's fine. I was like, I'm a little whacked in the head. That's why, like, everyone's telling me, I was like, that's not a good idea. A majority of your budget is gonna. I was like, that's fine. I'll deal with that. I'll eat ramen for like 4 months, and that's just kind of how.
Yes.
That's just kind of how I want to do it. So, yeah.
And I would say as an AD, when he said that to me, I was like, okay, well, my job is to make sure your dream comes true. If this is what you want to do with your money, this is what you should do with it, and I support that. But as our cast list kept growing, and he was like, I only think 19 people are going to want to be a part of this project. And I was like, okay, let's just, oh wow. And I kept getting emails, hey, add this person, hey, add this person. I'm like, okay, we're up to 25. Oh wow, now we're up to 30. When does it stop? Okay.
It seemed like every few days I would see more and more people with the Hard Out logo.
Yeah.
Or a picture of them with the Hard Out logo.
And that was
It's
the
like,
beauty
everybody
of it
is
too.
involved in this.
Yeah.
With the marketing, Ben and Brett were so connected with making sure that we did that. That logo, so it was uniformed. If
Yeah.
you're part of our cast, it's uniformed. You're gonna have to come in and let us do this, like, what do you call it? Photoshop.
Photo sitting.
Yeah, photo sitting.
Yeah.
And let's just get this shot. And then once people saw the quality of it, everybody was like, we were giving them dates. They were making themselves available, like in the evening time and during the day, to come in, just get your picture taken and go. And people were showing up.
It was important to us. I was like,
Yeah.
me and Brett are both content creators. As far as like, I mean, I'm a graphic designer. Brett is just a guru. It's sort of like just building websites and web development and stuff like that. So
Okay.
we felt like if we're representing our own sort of personal project, I was like, then we have to sort of come correct. It's like, if this is what you do for a living, then it had. I mean,
Yeah.
so that's the lens that we were looking through for for our marketing for those pieces.
Yeah.
And I think it was well received.
I
I'm
think
happy.
it worked really well.
Yeah.
Just being on the outside looking in, I think the marketing aspect of it worked really well.
And people walked away with something. I mean, I've been on stuff where you walk away and you're just like, wow, I'm glad that's over.
Yeah.
That's the something I'm walking away with. And I don't care if I don't get paid, I just don't want to do this anymore. You know?
Don't get mad.
But
Can you go grab the whiskey? Go.
It's right there.
it's right
Oh
there.
no, that's not enough.
Literally
Go.
But
Thanks, man.
But Ben, you know, and Brett, they put that together, and a lot of everyone was like, "This is the best. I've had so much fun
You can
working
just
on
drink
this."
straight out of the bottle.
No.
Was he
I
doing
wanna
that to
share
you
it.
on set too?
What was that? Duncan?
No, I was pushing him because
Oh, okay.
he's directing,
Yeah.
and on set I was costume designer, so I have to get all 30, 40 extras,
40 plus.
40 plus extras in like outfits that work and don't clash
Yeah.
and make it so that you don't know who's fighting who. And I'm like, hey Ben, you're like in one of the first shots. Can we get dressed? And I think I had to tell you that 7 times before we got you in.
Probably 6.
You're fucking.
Close
He over there over exaggerating
Like,
and
I
stuff.
think he
Seven
tells
times.
Seven.
It was only 6.
It was only 700
Oh
times.
my god, yeah.
And it was 7 times like an all day thing.
All day.
It was like 7 times within the last hour. No, within the last 24 hours. Some day today he did.
Yeah, he just
Right.
wouldn't
Like,
get
I
his
got it
clothes
done
on.
today.
Ben, you put your clothes on? I will in a minute.
I got clothes on.
What's the problem?
Oh, so, well, I guess with costume design, I just wanted to ask, are some people, like, when you have that vision, you see the script, right, Duncan? And then you have a vision in your head, okay, I know what to do with this. I know what color schemes and patterns and, materials, whatever I want to use, right?
With
And then-
comps, yeah.
And then
sorry.
they go, oh, I don't want to wear pleather. Or I don't want to, whatever, you know what I mean? Something, whatever it is. I don't know.
Oh.
Do you get that
in
resistance
that
sometimes?
in
or?
that scenario,
Mhm.
if they do give me that resistance,
Mhm.
I tell them to go fuck themselves.
Oh, no.
Can you say
Um,
that?
You make
Yeah,
that we already
When-
celebrated.
internet.
When I
on
become-
TV, so
But it was our
we're good.
first time cussing, so we've already celebrated. Yeah, you missed
When-
it. But he's obviously
Yeah.
updating you now.
when I do costume design, I think I do get a little more mean, quite honestly.
Yes.
Just
Oh.
because
A little divalicious.
there's a lot of people. We have to go through it quickly. We have a wardrobe set in place, and they need to wear. I mean, no one on set was rude, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because wardrobe is so tricky, you know what I mean? Even with my own clothing at home.
Yeah.
It's my clothes, I own them. And I'm still like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to,
Yeah.
There's the way you want
It's-
to look to the world, and I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm going to wear that. That doesn't
It's
fit
so
right.
hard.
So do they get at you like that? Like, you
The-
didn't make my body
You didn't
shape.
have anybody tell you like that?
Or everybody just
Honestly,
look
It's
good.
okay, just
On-
tell the people, tell everybody.
on that
They're all watching.
On that-
They're all
I
watching.
said
It's
the
okay.
only costume, the only person I had the costume that gave me some pain was you.
Oh, that was it?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
like
all right.
honestly, everyone else it took a long time because it was just me. Like I didn't have a
Okay.
wardrobe assistant.
I don't.
I had-
you on that job.
I had like
At
two, 3 racks, and I'm like in the costume. I was in a green room with makeup, so it's like a tiny room. I'm just like, here's a line, come through. Yes, yes, no, yes. Go get changed and leave me alone.
Yeah.
Because there's there's 40 people that need to come through and need to get their photo taken for continuity because it's like a 2-day shoot and then there were reshoots.
Yeah,
Right?
it
So-
should have been a 4-day shoot.
Okay.
I would expect that.
But we got so much done within those 2 days.
We did, and
You
it's
know?
it's not on the other side of the lens. It was just the amount of money that we had and the amount of time that we had. That was it.
I would expect that with a lot of these actors that have been acting for a while, that they would be used to working with a costume designer and be in a position where they would trust that you're not going to put them on camera looking stupid.
Yeah, no one on set was rude.
Yeah.
All the actors, the majority of them are stunt actors. They brought what they had options for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we sent out a detailed email
Mm-hmm.
that said, please bring these things in these colors. If you don't have them, that's fine. We have some options
Okay.
that can, you know, fit multiple genders and multiple sizes.
Yeah.
And, you know, we
Yeah.
pulled it off.
You
So-
did mention that you had a lot of stunts, like stunts after stunts after stunts.
No, it was. Mm-hmm.
Any accidents? Anybody hurt? Any?
Just to
it's
see.
our questions.
Just
You
to
mentioned-
see.
Oh no. No one was hurt.
Oh
during
no!
during
Real
the
quick.
filming- during the filming of Hard Out. I was like,
During the
no.
filming part.
Yeah. Was it?
Bill,
Your
you
nose.
were. Your nose.
Oh, yeah. That's me. So it doesn't
You're
matter.
were
always
just-
the
you
trouble.
were-
Like,
No.
getting all injured on
No,
set.
if it happened to me, then that's
Don't
perfect.
count.
I was like, it doesn't count.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
You're
yeah.
exempt
But
from
aside
injuries
from
and
that, I was
everything.
like, it wasn't.
This is where he gets to stop talking.
Right.
As the AD
Tell us
and
the truth.
safety keeper.
Right.
When that happened and our medic was on set, it comes from when you're not resting because you're doing all the work. You
Message.
make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So the key here is
Yes.
make sure when you're filming that you're resting, because he just leaned a little closer and he got grazed. And it actually worked because it is a bar fight.
Right, it worked.
But when we wanted to go back to one, it was like, cover it up.
Yeah.
Okay, now let it bleed. So yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, and now you can get medical attention.
And-
now
okay,
there's all
medic, come on
kinds
in,
of
do your
scenes.
job.
I was going to ask about that because I was looking through some of the behind-the-scenes photos that we had on a slideshow, and I saw one guy in particular. I don't know who he was, but it was a behind-the-scenes. It was like literally behind the cameras
Sure.
shot, and it looked like he had butterfly stitch over his eye, and I was wondering, was that makeup for a scene, or did he actually get injured in one of the scenes?
Look at their
No-
face.
no
Oh,
one got-
I don't know if I
Makeup.
believe you
No,
guys.
no real injury.
First of all, when the question got asked, everybody was like, "Why you ask that?"
No.
This is the only one
Yeah.
who got injured.
yeah,
This
yeah.
one
Right.
here.
So if there,
That's
if
awesome.
there was someone behind the camera with, I don't recall someone
I
with a.
don't remember stitches either. I remember someone with
Why
a
you
broken
why you trying to do
nose.
that, man?
You guys are
Focus,
good.
bro.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Can I see the picture?
Can you show me?
There's no evidence.
I'd like to see the picture.
I will definitely show you the picture.
Zoom in.
That's not butterfly stitches. That's his eyebrow.
Yeah, you
Bro,
just feel like a.
what you talking about?
big
That's
eyebrow.
good genetics.
I'm telling you, it ain't like us, honey. We got pencils and makeup and all that good stuff. No, that's his eyebrow.
Let me starting stuff with our family
man.
here.
You can't be the only one starting stuff.
They don't have no problems with me. You put me in the middle. Now you want to put me with you know?
We.
We was mad at you.
Oh, no.
You had mentioned before the amount of things that you learned doing this.
Yep.
Is there any particular thing that stands out that it was like the biggest learning experience?
I'll speak for myself. These two probably have their own sort of life lessons that they'll have. But for me, I would not want to produce, direct, act.
All at the same time?
Well, it's not necessarily happening. Some of those things are happening at the same time, but I just felt really rambunctious and sort of like leading up to sort of the filming of the project that I was like, I hate saying no, and I hate telling myself that I can't do anything.
Yeah.
That's a big motivator for me. So even with my AD and with my writer saying, you know, it's not a good idea, I was like, I think you should sort of pass this responsibility off to someone else. That's kind of the biggest one for me is not doing so many sort of key things on a shoot. Because Trina's right. I was like, I should have slept the night before on the first day, and the schedules had sort of changed, and we needed to do stunts on the first day for my character, and I didn't think that was going to happen. So I was like, oh, I'm just saying dialogue, no problem. I was like, I'll just not sleep, I'll sleep tomorrow because I'm doing
Yeah.
some kung fu shit. Not well, anyways, but that didn't happen, and a lot of things changed.
A lot of moving parts.
A lot of moving parts,
Oh,
and
boy.
sorry, man. So, so yeah, that's a one
Oh, you
advice.
laughing about the bad word. I'm laughing about the kung fu part. You can do kung fu?
Oh,
He's good at it.
no. But the thing is that's a one sort of thing that that's the one thing I take away from
Okay.
this whole experience is don't try to do everything on your own. I was like,
I can definitely
no matter
relate to that.
how you feel like, sort of committed or like just don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very valuable lesson. Take away from that.
Yeah, it is.
Because I still find myself struggling with that.
Mm.
Even though I've found an amazing team of guys that I work with on the regular, but I went so long doing stuff just myself
Sure.
because I didn't either people would fall through or they didn't have the skills that they had sold me. So I was like, well, screw it, I'll just do it myself.
Right?
But trying to break that habit is tough.
But
when you've done
also,
it for so long.
No,
even if
you're
like
right.
you did get the support, like if somebody wanted to give you the support, it's kind of hard for you to take the support too because you're used to doing things
You're so
yourself,
accustomed to
and there's a certain way you do it. So you got to kind of trick them and say, hey, this is kind of challenging. Can you help me?
Right,
Because
right,
you're trying to help it out. Can you help me figure it out?
Sure.
And then even then, it's like, hey, I got you in a minute. I got to do this first.
Right.
I'm like,
What
dang, I
about
can
you
help
two guys? What are you guys sort of like life lessons for everyone out
What
there?
did you take away from this?
Yeah.
experience?
Yeah.
What would you have not done aside from don't say not work with Ben? Don't say that. But you know, just
Oh.
There's a contract. He said, put them fingers down. All of them.
Oh,
Don't
not
everybody go
all
at
at
once.
once.
Oh, you be
That's
stuck.
first.
I mean, it's a hard question to answer.
Well,
you know?
both of you sort of gave me the same advice, so that's
What
sort of
what
thing.
was that? Can you tell
That
us what we said
advice-
to you?
That advice was saying, don't direct if you're going to be acting at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like it's not, and sort of being new to the game. I've been an actor longer than I've been behind the lens, if you will.
Okay.
So I just felt like somewhat. I was like, oh, I could do it. Yeah.
So did you have to
yeah.
separate days when you were going to be only an actor, or did you have to separate moments? How
There
does it
was-
work? In your department, how do you
You know,
focus?
There was-
Today you're just wearing the actor's hat, or
Oh.
today we're only doing
You don't.
budgeting today. We're only going to do, or is everything incorporated all? in the
It all
same
has to
20
happen
minutes?
It
all at
all
once.
has to happen.
In that
simultaneously.
moment, it has to like I've been doing it for a while.
Okay.
So, with Ben, like this is his debut. Like he's been acting longer than I've been, doing what I do, but I do what I do from the best. I learned
Is
from
this
the best.
something-
Okay.
So I told him, I said clearly,
Maybe they'll sponsor us.
Well,
do
I know
me a
it's
favor,
too late,
Ben.
right?
Don't
Shut up, Duncan.
direct this thing by yourself.
Okay.
Please get someone else. I recommend this person strongly.
Okay.
And I brought that person in, and he interviewed that person, but in the end, he and his co-director,
Mm.
but the co-director is more about the coloring and the look of the film, and not about the directing of the actors.
Mhm.
He was like, yeah, we both want to just, get our feet wet, but we really want to do it this way.
Mhm.
So I was like, as an AD, now there are ADs who like to yell and scream and
I
lose
will.
their cool and have a temper tantrum.
But
I have
you did a
learned.
little bit.
I have
A
learned.
little bit.
I did when we did that one shot, and I was like, "This is shit. We're not. You look tired. This is not going to work." And they're like, "Oh, this is great." And I'm like, "Oh my god, are you blind?"
God.
And
But
we
then
were-
we learned to
And I think
hydrate.
we were like at take 9, and I was like, "No more media. We can't burn any more media on crappy stuff.
Yeah.
Let's regroup this
Quality.
and do this right." I mean, we got all these people here. They're counting us. I'm not producing shit with my name on it.
So you want quality opposed to the quantity.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so I love you too.
And that's
Well,
what she's here to do.
okay.
And that's what she's here to do. She's here
And
to
that's
make
my
sure.
job. But
Yeah.
I would say what I did learn working with Ben, because most of the time I'm very humble about not speaking out,
Mhm.
because you trust the direction of the captain.
Okay.
You know, the director is the captain, and my job as a crew member, first mate, is to run the ship
Okay.
and to help make sure the ship is running right in the right direction the captain wants.
Okay.
If he says, I want to go left, and I'm thinking, I think we should go right, I will say, hey, I think we should go right, but he's like, I want to go left. Okay, captain wants to go left, let's go. We're doing it.
But you know, instead of like picking a north and a south, can you go like northeast together or northwest?
Well, that's when you pull them out of the fray and you're
Okay.
like, come on in here. It's crap.
We're still going. We're still sticking
But
with
that's
that.
the thing. That's
Okay.
that's why we.
So it's either good or it's not. Period.
Well, from her perspective,
Okay.
which a lot of times ends up being like the consensus, if you would.
Okay.
But I will say that was what sort of spurred in our mind. Was like, okay, we'd like to offer you a producership so we can open you up to sort of be a bit more vocal and sort of like help support it in another way. And that's sort of the reasoning behind sort of offering Trina sort of a producership, which was really cool. And what did you learn again?
To enjoy myself on set.
There you go. All right.
Who is Michael Crowley?
Michael Crowley?
Yeah.
He was an actor.
He was an
Okay.
actor.
Yeah.
He commented on
Yeah.
the live feed. He said, always listen to Trina. Always.
You're right, Crowley. You're right.
Michael.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
Good man. Good man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you guys can learn from Mike.
I honestly.
I like a man
you know,
like that.
I do.
Is he
I
cute?
think the main thing
It's decent.
that you
Okay.
should take away from this, Ben, is that you know you weren't a bad director.
No. he was
You
not.
were a very involved director because you were so passionate about this project and it meant so much to you. You weren't micromanaging.
No.
You weren't all over everybody's asses. You knew what you wanted. And I mean, you got stressed along the way because it was your first, path.
Yeah.
But you learned so much from it. And even if, Trina or I got a little heaved at some certain points,
Sure.
it's not like that's not the end of the world. That's not the end of the production.
Right. Because you guys
Because we're
still.
more than just co-workers.
Right,
like
right,
we're
right,
friends.
yeah.
And at the end of the line, we know that you're doing something because you think it will work,
Hmm.
and we do trust you. We trust that you know what you want and that you think it will come through.
I think
And if it
did.
doesn't, we're there to support you.
I appreciate it. Are you drinking?
So,
I'm not drinking.
Oh, okay.
I'm drinking
So,
coffee.
Second.
I'm fucking tired.
Can't even take a compliment.
Oh.
He was getting all emotional.
I know,
I
I was
feel
like,
like, I love Ben. You are everything, and you were like, have you been drinking?
Oh,
Have you been
my
drinking?
God.
How much have you had
Right.
felt like a therapy
You know,
session.
I know, right? He was like, hey, talk
I
about the
appreciate
movie.
So,
Ugh.
given that they think you did a great job as a
Awesome
director,
job.
are you looking forward to directing again?
Not in the near future.
No?
No.
Need a break from it for a
I
while?
think what I really enjoy doing would be being part of the art department in whatever sort of like
Okay.
in whatever role, and producing. I feel that producing is I really enjoyed producing for
You're so
Hard Out.
good at it.
I think so. I think I am.
So for
Yeah.
people who might be watching who aren't hip to the lingo and the positions,
Sure.
explain what a producer actually does.
I'm probably not the best person to ask.
They talk to people.
Well, they're actually the connectors. They sort of build bridges and sort of like make things happen. I know that's sort of a very broad sort of way to put it, but if there's a need for the project or the film, whether through financing or a location or through whatever sort of key department needs some sort of thing sort of vetted or done, I feel like the producer is the one that is they answer all those questions, and they are the ones that come up with those solutions. So
Find
Can
the
I
right
help
people
you?
to
Yeah.
connect with. And
Can I help
they're
you
like
with
a
that, Ben?
yeah, I know, right? They're the ones that are playing Tetris and like just fucking mashing it and just fucking doing it the whole
Okay.
fucking time. They're just making things happen. So that was one of the biggest joys of sort of working on Hard Out, was being able to sort of make connections and, you know, just network and meet different people, you know, no matter if it's sort of like sort of through money or through, like I said, locations or anything. I feel like this is sort of my grassroots sort of like definition of a producer. These two have gone to film school and done all these amazing things. They probably have a bit more polished sort of like explanation of what a producer does, but a producer, they get shit done. Like they make things happen. Like, so
Yeah.
they are the ones that are behind the scenes that sort of, I don't know, there's like page 4 in like a script that says I need rabbits for like this scene or whatever. It's
You
like,
find
so
the
you
person
find
with the rabbits.
rabbits or
Yeah.
you find whatever, or you
You find the rabbit.
yeah yeah.
You find
Or-
the rabbit handler,
Yeah.
exactly.
But that's the thing. I was like, I
I
enjoy
know a
that.
guy who knows a guy.
Yeah, but that's.
Exactly.
But I feel like producers are well connected. They're connected
Yeah.
in the industry and
Okay.
different sort of like.
And they bring their following. I mean, some producers, there are different types of producers.
Okay.
There are producers who bring their following, and they will share and be a part of marketing the product and getting it out to their followers and their group of people. And somewhere maybe in their followers, there's people who want to donate money
Right.
to that product because, oh, they know that producer very well, and they know that person wants to put their name on something that isn't worth putting their name on. So, hey, Jim, I'll give you money. And then there's the producer who'll, like, you know, has connections to locations.
Okay.
I've got connections to 5 bars in downtown Seattle,
Mhm.
and I know 7 of the owners. Which one would you like?
Uh-huh.
They're the ones who can get that done for you. Then there's the producers for transportation. You know, there's different types of producers.
Okay.
Mm.
What type of producer would you say, without, you know, explaining how Duncan be breaking it down when he talks about Ben?
Oh wait,
What kind of
what you guys
producer-
talk about in the beginning?
That's fine.
I'm talking about right now. You were sitting right here.
Okay. All right.
Bring the tissue.
Let me get the box.
No, I'm kidding. Just in your words, what kind of producer do you think would you describe Ben to be?
Ben's a networker.
A networker. Okay. And
We
that's a good
couldn't
kind of
go
producer to
in.
have.
Oh my God, the
Okay,
best.
okay.
He is a people. He cares about people.
Okay.
And people know him, and he has that relationship with people. So when Ben walks into any location, they're like, Ben Leiataua, hey Ben. Or I'll say, yeah, I'm working with Ben. They'll go, Ben Leiataua? And I'm like,
Trina, come on now, Trina.
No, that's very true.
Ben's a people person.
Uh-huh.
I can't say his name, and people don't know who he is.
Okay.
Or I've worked with Ben, and he's humble.
Mhm.
So that makes people like him even more because when they found out he was doing this, they were like, Ben's doing his own project? That's awesome. You know, I want to know all about it. I want to know what's going on.
Yay.
So,
All right.
I wanna be
All
in Ben's movie.
When you were saying everybody knew him, I ran into the same thing. After I met him for the first time, I can't remember the name of that shoot that we were on together.
So Dominique Barbero's project.
Yeah.
Can I vape in here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Pin to it.
Too late now. I know, right? This is how Ben gets shit done.
is that okay if I do this? Well, yeah, you've
Well,
already
you
started.
are Ben.
You are Ben.
Go ahead.
Goodness.
But after I met him, I gave him a brief synopsis of a story that me and my guys were working on, in hopes that we might be able to bring him on board as the lead character. Not putting him on the spot here or nothing.
No pressure.
But then I was talking to some other people that I wanted to bring on board, and I was like, he hasn't agreed to anything or anything like that, but I'm hoping that we can talk him into coming and doing this role. And everybody I talked to was like, oh yeah, I know Ben. He would be perfect for that.
Oh, thank you, boss.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm the producer.
Oh, see?
He wants to be a producer.
It's like a filled pie with alcohol. I need a couple cups.
Huh?
This
No,
is
this
why
is
we
your
can't
cup.
have nice things.
It's
So.
filled pie. This is why I can't have nice things.
What?
No, my cup is right there. Can you
Oh.
have my cup?
No, you can
Yeah,
pour
come on,
some.
producer, get going.
Ooh, that's too much.
Ben,
Here we
you
go.
know I got
Here
a
we go.
serious question. Not to
Oh,
say
what's
these
up?
questions ain't been serious.
They've been kind of serious.
You know,
Yeah.
I got a real serious question for you.
Okay, all right.
Okay, when is the release date? 2020. Or when can I get it
it. Forget them.
Is it?
When can I get my own?
Well,
Is
I
it
have to
still
take-
Oh, it's not
in
yet.
post?
It's
It's
gonna
a
be
definite time.
currently we're in post. We're doing sound design currently.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we're working on. But what we're presenting to your audience today is it's called a rough cut, or
Oh, we got the rough cut.
Are you
Yeah.
showing the entire rough
we're
cut,
not
or just a
showing
segment?
just a segment. I apologize. Just a segment of the
Oh,
rough
you
cut.
guys
Actually,
cold.
No,
Real
you don't
quick,
want the whole
while
rough
he's
cut.
talking about it, I'm gonna go queue up, because this is something that Sheldon hasn't done before. So
Ah,
I'm gonna
okay.
queue up the video while you guys talk about it.
Okay, so what's going on? Am I gonna get?
Oh no,
I mean, what's happening here?
no, no, no! We're
You're taking me
gonna.
through the emotions up and down. I didn't even
No. It's you'll see.
yeah,
You'll see like a 30 sort of second clip of the
Okay.
film. But it's a good part. Like yeah,
Okay.
it's
What is it?
it's the fire stunt.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Sweet.
Okay.
I saw a picture of it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, it's the most expensive part of the film.
Oh,
That,
okay.
yeah. But
Of course, we want to see that.
The
Yeah.
part that you were
Money.
telling Draco that you weren't gonna get to do
yeah.
in that one video.
Girl, that was hilarious,
Yeah.
right? Don't you love the way
Yeah.
he stops chewing? And then he's like, I'm just gonna start drinking then.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was really good. I love that part.
So good.
So good.
I don't know. Maybe after watching it over and over, it's sort
Don't
of
think about it on live
Oh,
air like that.
fine. Yeah.
What was
Okay.
it,
I'm just being honest, but I'm just saying.
on the set? What was the most difficult
That's a good show.
challenges that you think you might have went through?
My most difficult challenge was doubting myself and sort of second guessing sort of what I was doing.
Which hat? When you were wearing which hat? You were
I think it
feeling
would
that way?
be the director's hat,
Okay.
which was the very end. But Trina sort of, after pulling us into this kitchen and closing the door and then just having a come into Jesus moment. I mean, it was, that was kind of a turning point,
Uh-huh.
which sort of happened on the second day of filming.
Oh, okay.
It just sort of hyper-focused the whole team and just.
Oh, you met Jesus right away.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
You brought
Tre-
Jesus with you.
I did.
That's what you bring to the team.
Trina
That was
knows
really-
Jesus like this.
Oh, okay.
And it was
And now you know him now, so.
Yeah.
Yes, and now they're friends.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the one sort of.
Just the director part, huh?
Yeah, it's
And
it's
it's the
it's
ending?
it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you almost have to be omniscient and know. You have to answer every single question,
Uh-huh.
whether it's
Yeah.
from wardrobe
Uh-huh.
or from hair and makeup or the art department or you have to have an answer for everything.
Right.
And,
If you're not prepared, like you shouldn't direct.
Yeah, it's
But
true.
you were prepared. You were.
I think I just doubted a lot of my
Uh-oh.
own sort of like, I just doubted myself, and I just being put into a position like that. Are we watching the video now?
Not yet. I was waiting for you to get done talking. and
Oh
then
no,
I was
let's
Finish
watch
your
it now.
monologue.
I don't want to. No, that was a weak monologue. Let's
No,
let's
that was
watch
It was
good.
like, this is getting a little too deep. Can we
Yeah.
play the video?
Can we
Roll the footage.
roll the footage?
You know how I do.
Roll it. She wants to go in the.
You know,
You're gonna cry.
Woo!
Oh, look, it's the Power Rangers!
We're back.
south.
It's a commercial that goes south.
Oh, we're back. That was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
yeah,
real
was
short.
really. Yeah.
That was 30 seconds.
Oh, it wasn't the fire.
It wasn't the fire.
That's all right.
That's all right.
It was a surprise.
Wait for it. It's coming.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I did access, a specific question. You might not have a specific date, but maybe a time frame. You're thinking like summer or next winter, spring, fall. Or yeah, we're in
Is it
winter.
gonna be
So winter's already out.
online
I
or
say
a
that.
premiere?
But it's still 2020 though, right?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
2020.
It's only
Yeah.
March, so
Yeah, so I can say with it wasn't my sort of idea or process to sort of put this into a festival circuit. Like right away, I just wanted to have available to the team, especially the stunt performers and everyone that was involved for their reels, and
Yeah.
just so they can use it and have it be some sort of tangible piece for them. But just hearing a lot of pushback from the Keys and the team, they were like, no, this deserves a festival run, and this deserves its opportunity to sort of be seen in that light.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
You want to showcase it for your talent. They
I
put
do,
a
I
lot of
wasn't,
work into
I
it.
just wanted to
Into the
give it to
festival?
the talent
You can
right
do
after
both.
we were done. I was like, so,
Both.
being an actor for so long, I was like, the one thing I hated was like just waiting for footage for my reel or just footage
Yeah.
for anything. So I didn't want that to be my sort of like, I didn't want that to be a thing with the talent that was involved with the film. So, but everyone sort of believes that this project has a really good, it has a good opportunity to do well in festival circuits. So I acquiesced, and we're setting aside our budget to sort of put it out there. So
Okay.
that's kind of the plan. And you're saying there was no fire stunt in the film?
Gosh.
I actually wasn't looking at the clip.
Did you see any fire?
It was so quick.
It's only there like 30 seconds. I didn't catch it either.
It was
Okay.
the bar
Scene with
What's the
it.
bar?
when they knock over those two patrons running
The
at them
kids.
Oh,
with the whip.
okay.
Rosalio and
Well, I apologize, everyone. Brett said that he was going to put a snippet in there
shit
for
on
the.
Brett.
Oh, it's Brett's. Brett said he was going to do it. I was like, okay, fine.
Normal.
It's
All right.
fine.
Industry.
Yeah.
Where you just blame the other
All
guy
right.
and the other guy.
Whoever
I, mean,
was
I was
there.
taking it personal. He's like, oh yeah, and then we or she, you know? And I'm like, what do you mean? Why?
I didn't even say that.
But you weren't there.
I wasn't even there. So that's how it works.
Blame whoever was
Right, and I
there.
was like, oh, and I thought it was just him, but it's a whole industry thing.
It is an
Okay,
industry
it's all
thing.
you guys.
It's a male thing. It's a male
Oh, it's
thing.
a male thing.
Because women would be like, my bad,
Whoa,
I didn't
whoa,
put it
whoa.
in there.
Oh,
Guys
women,
be like, well, she didn't.
oh,
do
women
it.
go around apologizing now in 2020. Okay, hey.
Took a left turn all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get any apologies while you were on set? Because she's saying women apologize. Nope, he didn't get no apologies. He got a couple slaps, mean mugs, and shoulder shoves.
No.
And a bloody nose.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm still not convinced that she's not the one that gave it to you.
She didn't.
Yeah.
He's always trying to get somebody caught up with lawyers.
I know, I'm just like, yeah, I'm not gonna say that.
Oh, it's getting real.
I know it's going deep. It's going deep.
So, you were talking about festival circuits. Is that going to be the first way that it comes out, or are you going to have like a screening for some people? Or
There'll be a screening for our sponsors or people that donated to our cause, if you will.
Okay.
But aside from that, yeah, you both and your team are all invited to
Oh, wonderful.
this
Yeah,
sort
I
of
heard
future
that.
screening.
Honored.
I got a
Weird.
golden ticket. Thank you.
Yes, you
Oh,
did.
Yes.
But the thing is
I'm not
that
worried
you
about the
know,
release date now.
you guys have to have like you guys have to have 6 feet sort of like in between each other, like when we get into. Is that
Huh?
the governor said that,
What's
right?
going on?
Oh,
The mayor?
Oh, the whole like,
Yeah.
can't have more than
Oh.
250 people there.
front of
Well,
the
just put it on live then.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just go watch it from
Watch
my
it from
live on my
my
phone.
bedroom.
It's all done. You know, look,
watch it on
man.
your
As
TV.
much as I want to support and everything.
That person's coffee.
I got it. Okay.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
No, but earlier Duncan was explaining. He came for the way he wanted to handle all the challenges and anything that has to go on with this position. He actually has a team that he actually knows as friends or people he's already done business with, and he can reach out to them and kind of pull. I need you to get this wardrobe right. He has a team
Oh, yeah.
that he can. So does that work in pretty much in directing and producing and also in A&R?
AD,
AD,
assistant director.
assistant director. Yes.
She came from the music industry.
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah,
the
so
older
you
came
started
from.
throwing stuff at me from music, and I'd be like,
And so, so the whole goal is to wake everybody, wake everybody's game up, get the information, get the green version of the green room, right? And
Right,
the
right,
people
right.
that are watching, that are interested, and maybe coming into the industry can kind of learn from, all the people who did it already and made the
Yeah.
mistakes. That's the first thing you said. I
Oh,
learned what
yeah.
not to do.
Yeah,
So then they
absolutely.
can go ahead and not do that, or they can do it and maybe learn their way, right?
I mean, I'm very, I'm one of those people that has to do it, experience my failures and experience what I've done. I mean, somebody like Trina or Duncan could tell me ad nauseum, like,
I just
you
learn
know,
from other people's failures.
yeah,
Good for
I like to learn from my own sort of failures, and I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm the
saying
same way.
that there weren't any, like, Hard Out was not a failure. Hard Out was a success.
Yeah.
I was like, but for my own personal sort of like the way that I tried to direct or the way that I tried to act and direct, and those are life lessons that needed to happen for me to actually believe that this isn't something that can be done for me personally. I was like, there might be people out there, creatives out there that can sort of weather the storm between like trying to wear those different hats. And hats off to you. I was like, I'm just not one of those cats.
I haven't seen any of them yet. I just
Well,
want
there's
to
Clint
say that.
Eastwood.
Right.
And
Clint Eastwood
I
does-
always refer to him about Clint Eastwood.
Right.
But Clint Eastwood didn't start doing that until the end of his stuff, where he had already gone through and been the actor on someone else's production
I
and
know,
saw
I
how
got
they
more
did
gray
it,
hair
and
than
then
Clint
came
Eastwood.
in. Well, but he still,
Look at
there
this.
is the process.
You see this?
I see it. Oh my gosh.
Is it what?
Duck hair. I see the process where people make those mistakes. They're like, oh, I'm just going to jump into this and do it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is
Sheldon.
hard.
Uh-huh.
It is hard to
You need to be paying
perform
attention.
in front of the camera
Uh-huh.
and then direct yourself.
Uh-huh.
There's so much energy that comes out of your body when you're in front of the camera.
Uh-huh.
And now you got to do playback. And the time is ticking. Now, as an AD, I'm a clock watcher.
Right.
I watch the clock.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, you got 10 minutes to
Uh-huh.
do this. You got 15 minutes to do this.
Uh-huh.
Please be on time.
Okay.
Let's get out of the space on time. Let's respect this because we still gotta pack up and clean up.
Uh-huh.
So that's already calculated in, and then we gotta feed people,
Right.
and they gotta have at least 30 to 45 minutes.
That's not
We
right.
cannot be doing this. We cannot be doing this like crazy.
Uh-huh.
Late behind schedule. So I think when I did my first project, and I had to act in my own project, and I just wanted to direct it, but I had to act because my actor bailed.
Uh-huh.
I was exhausted.
Yeah.
I was tired, and by the time I went home, I was nauseous. I was like vomiting, nauseous. So it's
Yeah.
not a thing I recommend people do right off the bat.
Yeah.
Get on set, see how the set works, identify, because you got to be thinking about shots.
Uh-huh.
Do you have enough? Are you getting the shots at the right angle so that you can throw in that footage when you need to go from wide to a medium to a close-up
Yeah.
to
Okay.
help tell the story? Are you thinking about things as an editor?
Okay.
Because a lot of times people just come in and go, I want to act, I want to direct. Well, you have to make sure that you have enough material so your editor can put a story together.
Yeah.
Okay. Enough material meaning
Footage.
footage. Got you.
I don't
Not
know
the storyline
how-
per se.
Not the storyline.
Not enough actors. Not enough.
Are you still
Clothing.
berating me right now?
Enough
No,
of what's in
honey,
the
I'm
Right,
No?
not.
right.
Okay.
Never.
All right.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
I don't know how people direct and act and direct themselves to act.
Unless
I've
you're on a
only-
production longer than 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I've
Go
only
for it.
Yeah,
dabbled
time
with-
for it.
Go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
it.
I've only dabbled with acting myself. Played plenty of extras and things like that. But my main forte is directing. And when I'm not directing and I have to be in front of the camera, I can't.
Can't think about anything but your
If I am thinking about how to direct this shot, then I can't get into the character that I'm trying to be. My brain don't work that way.
I thought
So-
mine did.
I did try to
I'm not
help
saying
with
that
it.
people can't do that.
No, it's
I'm
possible.
just saying
It's
I
like-
don't get how it works. You got a few more cells up there than I do, I think.
Yeah.
No, I think, yeah. It's hard. It's
It's
really
like, maybe
hard.
I did,
I
but
was like, not anymore.
Got punched out.
And he
Yeah.
kept asking me, will you be the director? And I kept saying, no. Because my job is to watch everything and make sure everything is working and keep people from bothering you so you
Right.
can do your job.
Right. She's like,
I'm
the coach.
the front line.
Right.
I'm the front line.
Yeah.
So you lead the ship.
Mhm.
You lead the ship. We'll make sure the ship follows.
Okay, great.
I need one of you.
Maybe
on my
maybe
sets.
explain it to me. So, at the end of this shift, like say there's a 10-hour day.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Duncan, you do your thing, boom, pack it up, you get to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It seems like maybe, and I know you don't get to go home ever, so I already know that. But do you end up staying because Ben doesn't get to go home?
I do.
Is that how
A
it works?
good AD stays
That's what I want. Okay.
first to arrive,
Uh-huh.
last to leave.
Yeah.
Ben went and got him an AD. Some people don't have one.
Yeah.
Why is it necessary to have one opposed to not having one?
I couldn't imagine not having.
I get why you might need one from your perspective.
From my perspective, I think it's just it's invaluable. It's that ride or die that's on your set that has your back from the beginning to the end. It's like just like you said. I was like, we arrive together and we leave together. She's like, there's like this post sort of the discussion sort of after every single day where it's like you need an AD. You need that person.
Okay, so I totally understand how useful an AD could be for you, but for those who are getting ready to do this, create a story and start producing a movie or a show or whatever it is they're trying to do, why is it important for them? Because cost, you know what I mean? Things cost money.
Right.
So if you're spending money on actors and then you're spending money on the production part, the lights, the this, the that, and then you're always going to cut a corner somewhere, right? And most people want to cut a corner with someone who's actually not in the movie or in the, right? Right. I'm just going from like the money, following the money, you know what I mean? With seeing where I can save some money or maybe
Totally.
use this pot of money over here instead, you know what I mean, to get better advertising, marketing, whatever. So, I do believe that it's very important to have one, but for those who don't know, who don't understand, why would it be that important for them to have one?
I guess my first question I would ask that person is, how good are your management skills?
Okay.
So if your management skills are really, really good at like not forgetting, that you have to remember to do this and then this and then this, and someone, a sounding board, if you are your best friend, if you are your own best friend, do it. But if you are not, if you're afraid that you're just going to be so totally focused on your lighting or your setup or camera direction or talking with the role of the director is to talk to the talent, to work with the talent, to get the performance out of the talent that you want, and then to talk to your director of photography and say, please capture their hands. I want to capture an emotion feeling. I want to capture a sense of tension. So can you go in this way? Then talk to your gaffer and say, this scene right here is supposed to be sad and moody, and I want crying. But then you've got production and crew in the back going, when's lunch arriving?
Right.
I'm hungry.
Uh-huh.
Why is this person on location? The person in the location comes in and goes, how long are you guys going to be in here? I can't have stuff over here. Now you have to stop working on what you're doing to set up this environment to go deal with this business stuff in the background.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay.
If you are cutting that corner, if you're cutting your assistant out,
I can do it.
So basically you come in and you allow the director and producer to just focus on the creativity side.
right?
Yeah.
And you are, basically it's between corporate and staff. You're corporate. Because even though you guys are getting along just good right now, I have a feeling that
Oh, it was hot.
that it gets
hot.
And so how and I know that you mean well because you're here to do a job and you want to communicate with him about what this job is, and then he has his vision, right? So how do you guys meet in the middle? How does one trust each other like that? Because how long have you guys known each other? You guys just meet?
No.
No, we've known each other
Okay.
for about 2 years.
2 years, okay.
2.5.
AFK?
AFK was the first project.
Yeah, 2 years?
2 years, yeah.
2 years?
And this is your project, your baby, and then, you know, you come and tell him how to run his baby.
No. So the rule of a good AD
Okay.
is you come in like a blank slate without
Okay.
your opinion.
Okay.
If you are going to do your job, you come in willing to help assist this person to do their job with your knowledge, and you want to support them. So when we started working together, all I knew him as was an art director or a set designer. So I was like, he's gonna direct. Let's see. And then I started seeing his graphic stuff, and I was like, that's impressive. That looks really good.
Mhm.
Okay, well, a little more trust, a little more like, okay, you know what you're doing.
Okay, so the trust got built.
The
through
trust
time.
gets built.
Okay.
Because I've worked with directors where I've come in and I've tried to tell them, hey, 15 minutes. Okay, we got to be out of this space in 15 minutes. What are we shooting? What's important? They give me a shot list of 46 shots, and we only have 8 hours to shoot. What can you squish together so we can get this done and get you all your shots you need? They want to argue with me. I want to shoot all 46 shots. You move that camera. Every time you move that camera, that's 20 to 30 minutes. You only have 8 hours. 46 shots. You do the math. If you're not listening to me, okay, have a good day. I'm out. Because I will leave.
Yeah.
I will
Because
leave.
it defeats the purpose.
It
of
defeats
you
the
even
purpose
being-
of me being there. You don't
Yeah.
need me. You're gonna run this show yourself, and we're gonna get in trouble and fined. I'm not having my name on it.
Mhm.
So then I will go to the producer and say, hey, your director's not listening to me. My job's not necessary. I'm gonna leave. And the producer will say, please don't go. Let me go talk to the director. By the time I finish, if she finishes having that conversation or he finishes having that conversation with the director, he's checking in with me every minute. How much time do I have? You have 7 minutes left.
Right.
You have 10 shots you want to do. Can you squish anything together? I think you can get 2 shots. What do you want? That's the most important.
Like
Tell that
reality.
story.
This
Right.
is the reality check.
Right.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
person's
And the
sort
whole
of like,
time, you were
'Cause
thinking
I
those
know-
10 shots was the reality.
Right,
And you're
right.
like, no, that ain't real enough. You
Mm.
need to get realer.
You need to break it
Yeah.
down.
Because it's not like he's not being real
Right.
or unrealistic, because I understand where you're coming from.
Sure.
You need those 10 shots. They were 30 at first.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to bring Duncan into the conversation because Duncan's not an AD, and
I've been one.
oh, you have?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh shit! Sorry, man. Okay, so
I
sorry,
mean,
bro.
it wasn't a good experience.
No. I mean, they're asking
Unlike your experience, all
what
great
is
with
sort
the
of like the modus operandi of like an AD and what sort of value do they bring to a set?
I think that if you're if you're working on a crew that has 4 people or less, you don't need an AD.
Okay,
I
True
think
that.
any more than that,
Yeah.
you need someone to take care of that time-wise. I don't direct often because I hate it.
But you have.
But I have.
Yeah.
And the times that I have were thoroughly made productive because I chose an AD that suited my directing style and helped me remain calm and helped me keep on time. Because if you're working on something with so many people, with so many moving cogs,
Yep.
as a director, you're gonna forget something.
Oh, yeah.
You can't.
Sure.
You can only take on so many of the roles, and you can only do so many tasks. And if you're on a bigger set and you're also ADing, then you can get sidetracked and you can fuck over yourself. You can go down a path where you've wasted 2-3 hours, and I've seen it happen on
Oh, yeah.
several sets. And I mean,
I've done it even on small sets
yeah.
because I didn't have an AD.
Mm.
And I mean, if you don't have the budget, like that's one thing.
Yeah.
I don't
Get it.
I don't know of a lot of projects out here who have the budget and have decided not to have an AD.
Right.
If you don't have a budget and it's like a 4-person crew, I get that. You can
Yeah.
probably manage it by yourself. You're
Right.
probably
Yeah.
shooting in a friend's house or in the woods, and
Much
like that's
fewer
not a bad
moving
thing.
parts.
Right.
Like you
Yeah.
can do great stuff with that.
I like that advice right there. If you're working with a team, 4 or more, the best advice is to get an AD. If you're wondering when you should, like,
Sure,
is
sure,
this
sure.
project right? Is this project big? Because nobody thinks their project
it's gonna be that big until it is big, right?
Yeah.
But as you're going, or you already knew that. Oh, you
I mean,
guys.
you-
No,
honestly,
she didn't know that.
Hard-
You knew. And I
Hard
looked at it. I was like, yeah,
started,
he
like,
did.
Hard Out started
Right,
as a
exactly.
small thing,
It
and
was
it
right.
just like because you're
So
a
the AD
people
can come
person,
later.
like
Yes.
you talk to a lot of people, and
Yeah.
it got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you
every
couldn't have
time I
done
turned
that
around,
project
there was
without
more
an
people
AD,
involved.
even if you were
So
co-directing with someone, because you're in charge of the actors and acting, and Brett was in charge of all of camera and like the lighting department. They can't keep on time. I mean, Brett is a very technical person, but still,
The
I feel
vision
like he
was-
would have had
yeah.
trouble
I
being an
really,
AD.
I wish I had met you guys already before you started this, just so I could come watch.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you'd
because
be an
it's-
There were
expert.
a lot of 10 o'clock at night conversations, and
Oh,
some
yeah.
tears were
Yeah.
shed,
Yeah.
and some emotions were felt.
What?
We
I was there.
Well, you know, that's what happens when you're Miss Jesus.
He gonna make you cry.
I mean,
He
I
gonna make
met,
you
I met
cry.
Jesus like 4 or 5 times on this,
Right.
on this
So,
thing.
I
So,
mean,
yeah.
what'd you think was going to happen when you met him?
I'm an atheist now, but yeah. Sorry.
After it's all said and done. Hey, but the movie's great because you were there to make
I was-
sure it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, the relationship between you and Jesus, that's on your own.
Right.
We had a question.
Oh, yes, there was a question.
Oh, it's a question.
Bad question.
What was the question, Scott?
What are Ben's acting goals for the next few years?
What are your goals, Ben?
My goals, my acting goals.
Yeah.
We could actually put that question to all three of you.
Yeah.
What's next?
That's great.
Yeah.
After, once Hard Out comes out,
Well, he
what's
wants to know
next
specifically
for-
your acting goal, Ben.
Oh, my acting
specifically, and
goals.
then
Other than our short film.
Um, I don't know. I had aspirations to either go to Vancouver or Seattle. I'm already in Seattle. Vancouver or LA, sort of in 2020. But based on sort of financial, and all the actors out there who are watching this now can sort of relate to this. It's like it depends. I mean, it depends on when you're ready. It's like if you're in a position where you can set aside a couple of thousand or a nest egg to move to LA or move to a bigger market, then yeah, that's the logical sort of like the responsible thing to do. As far as myself, I found that I want to make more projects up here in Seattle. And that's where I want to be. It's not necessarily I'll always be an actor, but at the same time, I feel like there aren't enough people of color that are making their own projects, and I feel like that's important. I feel like we need to tell our own stories and sort of just create our own content that is for us, it's by us, it's from our perspective. No matter how fanciful like Hard Out is or whatever it might be, but I feel like that's sort of my goal as far as being an actor. I'll always be an actor. It's like just like a lot of you actors out there who are watching now. It's like, but my goals have sort of changed, and that's going to happen from time to time. But that's where I'm at. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
What's up, Duncan?
Mm.
What about you? What's going on
Acting
with you?
goals?
No,
Man,
it doesn't
I'd
have
like
to be acting
act
goals. That
more.
was specific.
No
You want to
sarcasm.
act up. 'Cause
He's gonna act up, right?
Yeah.
Go be showing your butt now.
Last time he acted up, he got slapped. We don't want that.
I don't know. I've got at least two sizable projects on my plate right now. One is a very personal project that's essentially me revisiting something that I directed badly.
Oh, okay.
And then
It's not bad.
it is. It's
good.
really terrible. It's not.
It's not your
good.
fault. It's the focus puller and like all the.
Gotcha.
There
Yeah,
was there was
yeah,
shit.
So
that's
that's
a-
interesting.
never
You're
seen
gonna
it
go
right
back
now.
and refix.
Oh, he's got a great idea for it.
Okay.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I can't
And-
wait for you guys to see it.
and then
It's a great idea.
Recycle, basically.
Yeah, And then the other project is like it's a safety project that I'm working with the Office of Film and Music and the SBD, and hopefully there's going to be some city funding in there as well. That's
Nice.
kind of on like pause right now because everybody's dealing with Corona. So that's it. That is.
You're supposed to add the word. You're supposed to put virus. We said corona like it was popping.
Oh,
I
right.
don't know what
And you
it
working with
is.
the popo? Is that what you said? Wait.
Oh, man.
What are you doing with them?
Yeah, the police are involved.
What are you gonna
yeah.
be doing with
But the popo is involved.
They are
Right.
involved.
What are you gonna
Yeah.
be like?
I like it's all
Following around
really in
the
its
streets?
it's in its baby stages, so I
Uh-huh.
don't want to talk about it that
Okay,
much.
gotcha.
Okay.
It's a
Because
secret.
it's evolving.
Right.
The script is gonna change and
But stay tuned.
yeah.
He's got a
Stay
good
tuned.
PR.
No, he's gonna come back and,
You
and
taught
talk
him
about
well.
it. But it's,
Sure.
yeah.
It's
We'll definitely
evolving,
have-
you
have all
guys.
you guys
You can't
back
talk
on
about it at
the
all.
show.
There'll be more.
Wait,
there's more.
Right, I like that.
Yeah.
Follow him on. No, I'm kidding.
You can.
Get the
You
rest
can.
of it.
You can follow me on at Star-Boszko on Instagram or Star-Boszko Design on Instagram, which is just production design
Well,
stuff.
spell it. Nobody can spell fucking Bosco.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's extra letters in there.
There
Star-Boszko.
is.
Star-Boszko.
It's
I thought
Star.
it was Tabasco
You
or
just
something,
switched
right?
back.
Wow.
Tabasco.
Wow. Wow. Star BOSZKO.
See, yeah,
Oh, I like
that's
that.
it.
Or you can follow Crab Claw Creative, which is a co-op collective that I helped
Nice.
put together.
The team
Nice.
that.
Yeah.
Nice.
They do short films and stuff for nonprofits and music videos and all
Oh,
that sort of
cool.
Right
stuff.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I needed you before.
That's right.
Yeah.
Are you
I'm
still
here.
here?
No, I mean, well, it's already done, but I needed
Oh,
yeah.
we'll make another one.
I know, right? Just do it.
Let's do another one.
Just do it like you.
Yeah. Oh no! I'm taking like one. I need a break. I need a break. I need a break.
No,
I need
buddy.
a break.
Look,
I need a
look,
break.
you're making the documentary series,
Oh,
right?
Yeah, that's
It's smaller form, so it's
it's
less
smaller form,
stressful,
yeah.
but it's still incredibly impactful.
A documentary about.
Can you tell us about that
Yeah.
at all? Or is it too
yeah.
early?
No. I can actually, yeah.
He's like, I don't mind snitching.
No, it's a project sort of focuses on just folks that are from the Pacific Northwest that are of a certain age group that are somewhat overlooked and just not. They're like matriarchs and patriarchs of like their own sort of social sort of communities, like whether they're African American or Chinese, Japanese, whatever it would be, and it's sort of like like held together with like their artists in their own right. So we're just telling their story. I mean, it sounds a bit cliche, but when it comes from your backyard and from where you live, it's even more meaningful. And these are people that I've sort of come across my sort of like my time up here in the Pacific Northwest, because I'm originally from California.
Mhm.
But those are people that have impacted their own communities or impacted the community at large. That they're just amazing people to me. That I find them interesting, and I think other people would as well. So yeah, that's my next project that me and my production company are working on next, which is a bit more on a serious note. It's something that we've thought about for a long time, and Trina will be ADing that as well.
I will.
She will.
I will.
And but yeah, it's.
I'm convinced. I believe you.
I'll share the footage with you guys after we're done. I'd love to get another set of eyes on it. But
Wonderful.
yeah,
Yeah. Any way we can help out with something like that, we'd love to.
absolutely. That's great. Yeah.
What's next for you besides doing the film?
Yeah, what the
with-
hell's
Are
happening?
you getting into
Documentary.
acting, Trina?
That would be
Are you
nice.
gonna be
Yeah,
an
what are your
actress?
acting goals?
That would be a no.
No, you should do it.
But my role is working. I just got through finishing the Auburn Film Festival, so that was a really big deal, and we are working on building that up for next year.
Okay.
And then our Seattle Film Summit is coming up
Mhm.
this year, so I'm working on that. I'm in charge of hospitality and volunteers. So it is a really big deal because we are really wanting to bring filmmakers in, and we've already gotten the green light from like Dow Constantine and his group of people and the Shoreline City as well. They really want to bring film back to Seattle.
Okay.
So we are tapping our new filmmakers out there to please, like, do something, submit, make movies, and let's get it in the festivals and let's get it shown.
Right.
You know, let's make Seattle a film town.
How does
Yep.
one
We
do?
definitely need to talk later on
How
because
does,
we have a couple that we would like to submit.
right?
Oh, that's
For
great.
those that are watching, how would they go about if they're interested in submitting? How would they go about doing that?
Well, we are using like Film Freeway, so you do your work and then you upload it and submit it to Film Freeway, and then we do the screening process. But right now we're building that part of the festival for next year up, the theme.
Okay.
So wait for the theme,
Okay.
and then
Put your project.
put your project
Oh, yeah.
around the theme,
Okay.
so that it can be at least like within the ballpark.
So who would benefit the most from being part or being, like, going to
The
the
summit.
summit? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God! If you're interested, so last year we had Sir Mix-a-Lot there.
Okay.
Everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Big Butts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
So it was a big deal.
She was like, hey.
But we also had, for the first time in 10 years, I believe, and Ben Andrews has to correct me on this, but in 10 years we've finally had like our government officials come to the film summit and show up and be a part of it and
Wow.
see what the buzz was about.
Support.
That's awesome.
We had over, I believe we had over, I think it was 300, 400 people come, because we do it for 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
We showed Robert the Bruce at the Regal Theater in the Landing. It was a big deal. So
Who
people
would
who are
benefit from it?
filmmakers,
Mhm. Who else? Look
People
at the
are
camera.
filmmakers,
Mm-hmm.
people who are interested in making film,
Right.
your newcomers, people who have a drive to find out what is this film thing in Seattle all about.
Mm.
Those kind of people, definitely.
And definitely for networking purposes.
Oh,
And
yeah,
networking
yeah,
beyond
absolutely.
belief.
Okay.
We have people who were able to pitch. We
Okay.
have distributors who come
Ooh,
in, who
nice.
do funding, who will fund projects. So it's a big, big deal.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's who would benefit.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh,
with
yeah.
some money,
You
You
had
want to get your
said,
film
Right?
produced.
Yeah.
you had said
That's what I heard.
Something about waiting until themes were announced to submit.
For the festival, yeah.
Is there specific dates when they?
I believe
that
that for
information's
like the
put out?
Auburn Adventure Film Festival is always about an outdoorsy event. So
Okay.
if you're a climber, ice climber,
Okay.
That's me.
base
I-
jumper,
I know. I've
Okay.
seen you ice climb.
See?
rafter,
You fall.
Yeah. A lot.
games. Like we have one called
Right.
Surviving the Games, and that was for the Eskimo people, and they're like they had these game events, but it was really how they did their survival
Yeah.
being out
Yeah.
there, and they had turned it into a gaming event. But when they had this event where like this man carries like 5 people on him and moves a certain number of distance. This is a part of how they lived,
Yeah.
and they turned it into this gaming. But out there in the wild, that's what they do. So it's like it all tied in. It was just powerful.
So what can you sort of key us in on like the theme for the summit this
I
year?
know. I think
Don't come on, Trina, tell them.
we are still.
Wow.
I'm trying to get a job as
We
like a
are
co-host
still
over here.
working on that. He knows. See, I didn't know. I thought he was giving me the juice. Ben knows you ain't giving me nothing. So I'm gonna get. Yeah,
We
I'm
don't
trying
have the theme yet. We're
Okay.
still working on building the
okay.
theme.
All right.
That's what I keep trying
So
to
again,
say.
stay tuned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stop digging, Ben. She gave us everything. Dang, messing me
Alright,
up.
man,
Making me
sorry,
feel
sorry.
like
But
she
my
got
name
it.
is, it's gonna be in
no.
November.
I'm not gonna let
Well, there we go.
There
That's
we
good.
go.
In November.
In November.
You guys get your
So
stuff
stay
together.
tuned.
November is not that far away.
More details are going to be coming out in November on how to get involved with it's the Auburn Film Festival.
The
Summit.
Seattle Film Summit.
Seattle Film Summit.
And that's gonna be at the like, Washington Heights,
Okay.
Right.
down by where
Like
the
bricks on your
where
nose.
the Seahawks practice, in
In
that area. What
What
is the name of that?
Century
park?
Link?
Huh?
What, no,
No, the
no,
practice
Safeco.
field.
Oh, the practice field. You up over there by the
down in Renton, what is the name
Oh,
of that?
Yeah, the practice field in Renton.
Oh,
Park.
I don't remember what they call it.
I don't know.
I can't remember the name of the
Yeah.
park.
But we,
the
We
actor.
Over
are-
by the landing, exit 5 on the 405.
Yes.
That I do know.
Is anyone? Sorry.
Exit.
No, don't. Huh? What? Nothing. Nah.
We are just about out of time.
All right.
Do you guys have any shout outs or plugs that you want to do for upcoming projects? We kind of talked about your upcoming
Yeah, we did a little bit.
projects, so.
Go to the Hard Out website.
Okay. Give us
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to mention the first video that we showed before Ben and Trina got here. I got word that there was no audio on that. So if you would like to see that full video, go to the Hard Out Film Facebook page. That video is on there, and the audio works. So, but the Hard Out website, is it?
Yeah, it's just hardoutfilm.com. So that's hardoutfilm.com. You can check out all of our sort of BTS footage, BTS photography. You can see all of the, not all of, I'm still updating the website, but you can see a majority of our team, sort of production crew and stunt performers that are part of the film.
And there's a direct link to the GoFundMe page, which is still open.
Yes.
Oh, it's still active.
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
Cool.
it's still active because I'm still eating ramen and trying
Yes,
to
you are.
sort of help pay for the film. So
And the more money we get, the more coverage that we can, we can submit to more festivals.
well, yeah, exactly. I was
Right.
like, right now, that's kind of where we're phasing our fundraising efforts into is sort of festivals and sort of post production. So yes,
And
if
are we still going to have a live fundraising? Was that
The party?
something that's in
well,
there?
because of sort of current events, I think that's
not
sort
now,
of
but-
Yeah.
that's sort of postponed right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have face masks, gloves, and I don't know, slather,
Perel?
just spray everyone down with Lysol, but I don't think that's
Hey,
gonna
they
be
used
good.
to have Tupperware parties. Maybe we could have a staying alive party.
Oh.
That's what I'm thinking about.
I mean, my biggest shout out is I just thank everybody who made Hard Out what it is. Every single individual
No, that's-
person. I'm
yeah.
so grateful for them. I'm so grateful for the talent that they brought. They brought their game
They did.
and they brought their heart. They didn't just come up and say, I want to do this job. They brought their heart. And the people who put their money into it as well and helped us to get the location and stuff. I'm so grateful. And for Mike providing the food like he did.
Mike
and
Dabrowski.
Mike
Please
Dabrowski, thank
hire
you.
him.
Yeah, the
Oh
man
my goodness,
is.
he is
He's a
fantastic.
caterer? Or
He's a caterer and producer.
And he's
So,
a scientist.
he's a scientist?
Yeah, he's
He is.
He is a scientist.
He
Yeah.
Yeah, he works
cares
for you.
about what
Oh,
you eat.
for real, he
Yeah.
really is a
No.
scientist.
I just want to sort of piggyback on what
Yeah.
Trina was saying, is that Hard Out would not have been possible without everyone that was involved. I was like, it was a very holistic sort of approach to sort of filmmaking, as far as everyone did what they were sort of asked to do, and without that, this film would not have been possible. So Hard Out, although we're doing a festival run and we're going to sort of present sort of footage for all of your individual reels, Hard Out is for us. Hard Out is for the film community. Hard Out is for every sort of burgeoning sort of filmmaker that wants to create their own content. I was like, you can learn from our experience, learn from mine, Duncan, Trina's sort of experience as far as creating your own sort of content and creating your own film. But that's why Hard Out. That's why Hard Out is a film. It's because of everyone that was part of it. I was like, so thank you.
And I'll
Everyone.
give you a nugget for your viewers.
Okay.
Work with your friends.
Okay.
If
God,
you
yeah.
really
Yeah.
want to put
It's
on
true.
a film and you want to do this, work with your friends.
Okay.
And trust them and let them trust you. And take them on the journey and make it a shared thing instead of my thing. Make it an our thing. Make it a
Yeah.
we thing.
Right.
Speak some French.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, if you really want to make a good film,
Uh-huh.
you need to have a team that works with you.
Okay.
That's-
Small caveat to what she was saying. Work with your friends who are also filmmakers. Don't just
In the industry.
start snatching up your friends that have no interest in film.
Yeah, they have to share the
Because
same.
it's
Well,
You
not
can.
gonna
Well,
work
they
for them.
might be
You
interested after, so they experience the whole thing.
I won't get into our bad experiences because anyways.
It
Right,
happens.
right. But
Him
you
don't got no
might have
friends.
some of those people.
No.
It wasn't my friends that got brought into that project.
Yeah, right.
My friends, no, never.
Anyways, so I want to thank you guys very much
Yes.
for
Thank you for
joining us
having us.
tonight.
Really.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys
Um,
for coming and popping it with us. And
We have one quick thing that we need to do before we head out.
two quick
We're gonna
things.
do the two quick things.
We're gonna do what you're gonna do, but then I'm just gonna make a public announcement.
Are we
Make sure people
dancing?
watch
Yeah,
the
we're
TV.
singing.
Oh,
We're
yes.
singing.
Singing
Yeah,
and
we're
we're
dancing.
dancing.
Yes, we're gonna
Yeah.
do the hokey pokey with you guys before you leave. No,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
kidding.
No.
We have
Kevin Hart.
a segment where Sheldon is gonna surprise me with something that came in the mail this week. I don't know, I know what one of the things is, I don't know what the second thing is. And we're gonna let the viewers try and guess what this has to do with. Is it tied in with the stuff from last week?
Yes.
What's in the box?
I don't know.
We're gonna find out, yeah.
I'm
And
nervous.
whoever, do I keep sitting in front of you? I'm
I'm
sorry.
all like,
It's like, get out of my light.
Whoever can comment the closest guess to what this stuff has to do with can come join us on set when we actually start shooting this film.
and I get to guess because TT the hater ain't here right now. Stop me from guessing.
It's just packing material here.
Hey, don't be telling.
Well, dang, thanks
Oh,
for opening it.
Underneath. Okay. First thing is it's a fake
Surveillance.
prop surveillance camera.
Prop surveillance. Oh, man.
Is
We,
that real?
we got like 4 of these. They take batteries. It's got a light on it and everything.
Oh, cool.
Cute.
But yeah.
Put this up at the center.
We can use that. in our-
Not meant to put in your
Put it
real
on your
home for
car.
security purposes.
Right.
Actually, I've
This
seen
is for-
people that buy these to fake people.
No,
Okay.
they could.
I wouldn't recommend
You,
it.
I don't know what they talking about. You better not get a fake camera for your real home. That's right, exactly. It's for the movies.
You're gonna lose something.
Right? Fake camera for your real house.
Right.
The dog's like, you're on your own, buddy.
Oh, okay. I know what this is.
Oh, that's a cool
Oh, I don't
prop
even
right
have to
there,
open it.
man.
Evidence bags.
Put your groceries in it.
Is it just these, or is there other stuff inside? Or do
It's
you
like
even
those.
know?
Yeah.
Those.
It's
you
eco-friendly
can
because
open.
it's paper.
I don't know.
It is true.
Wait, are you guys
Yeah.
playing the game? I feel like you guys are playing that murder game and they send you something every week. A friend of mine has this game.
Well, they already saw it last week.
Oh, wow.
Last week we showcased
saw that.
a DEA jacket.
Yeah, DA jacket and not caution tape, but
And police
police.
Oh!
oh,
wow.
Yeah, that's
legit
cool.
evidence bags
That's
Yeah.
Amazon for you.
Yeah.
for big evidence.
Shit.
So last week
For
was
guns.
a DEA jacket
Oh, you can use
and
that
some
for
police tape.
Right.
This week we got surveillance cameras and evidence bags. So y'all make if you're not involved with the film already, make your guesses in the comments, and whoever comes closest to
Gets to be in the film.
guessing basically what we're
Look at her
trying to
making her
do.
rules
I
like
know.
as we go.
Gets to be in the
Has to
film.
be in the film.
No.
No.
Gets to be in your film.
Oh,
It's like you guys get to participate in the film.
as an extra.
Right? No.
In her
That's not-
film on the casting couch.
No.
Wow.
These
Well, I got
guys
the
are
guess.
out
I
of
got the
control.
guess.
You see what
That
happens?
went somewhere.
He gets around his friends and then
She
starts acting
always-
funny towards me. You
She
know what I
always
mean?
winds up bringing up the casting
She,
couch.
do you see how it's, oh, she,
Anyway.
did she do that? No, she didn't.
You did that earlier tonight.
No, we did not.
Done that every
We have no
episode.
witnesses.
Can you hold up the footage?
Anyway,
No, but the guess is it's not in a penthouse. I already guessed that last week, so that's a wrap. There's no stripper pole involved, just because
No.
there's caution tape and
Well, don't give it all
what
up.
else was it? No, but the guesses are wrong, so don't guess these. Is what I'm saying.
There could be a
No, I already
stripper pole.
guessed them. I already told. No, there ain't no stripper pole. Shut up.
besides, you're already invited to come to the set. Anyway.
It doesn't matter. I still want to be on. Oh wait, we can't be on.
You want to be on
The winner doesn't get to be on nothing, huh?
the pole?
The poll.
Okay.
This is why we don't let Sheldon. He's a
This-
technical support.
pineapple.
Stay back there.
We need to cut it right there. Thank you for tuning in.
Wait,
Thank
before
you guys
everybody
for
cuts
joining
out,
us.
before everybody
She has a
leaves.
special announcement, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
It's not a special announcement. Just
Pretty
everybody. No, it's not that special. But
You're hyping it up.
no, because like right now, everybody should just be around their family and friends and just take the opportunity. I know it sounds like a cliche, but you never know. You know what can happen. It seems like life is slipping away pretty quickly here as we watch the news. Simple tactics: drink your water, don't be thirsty. Every 15 minutes, take a sip. That's kind of recommended from a doctor that I've seen that he posted online. He doesn't care if you have a thirst or not. Just sip your water every 15 minutes to eliminate, being dehydrated. Keep hydrated. Keep hands clean. Everybody's going crazy about hand sanitizers, but the best thing to do is wash your hands with soap and water for 30 seconds or more. There's different specials that show, it takes a minute for bacteria and things like that to get washed out of your hands. So 30 seconds or more is recommended. Hand sanitizer only comes in handy if you don't have access to a sink at the moment. That's it. Not
It's supposed to be a backup.
not instead of,
Not the
right?
primary.
And
I was about to feed off what you was just finna say.
Go ahead.
The water thing, because it flushes down into your system. So that your stomach has to kill whatever virus is in there. That's why it's saying drink all that water.
also, once you sever the membrane, they say it only takes 10 minutes for the virus to kick in. So you don't have, so when you're thirsty, you only got that, 8 minutes to drink water right away. So to eliminate thirst in the first place. See, so the preventative care is real simple, but once you get it, it's very aggressive.
About that.
Yeah, we're not. I just want to, you never know what can happen in a week.
Nope,
I won't
that's
see
true.
you until
That's
next
true.
week. So
Yeah.
just want to kind of tell everybody, love each other.
Drink your coffee, drink.
Yeah.
It sounds like we have a hard out.
We do
though,
have-
I think we do.
We have one last thing that we're going to show you as we leave. This is just kind of a shameless self-promotion. This is a new music video that just dropped today that was shot in the G Street Films Cyclorama studio in Soto. So take a look at this. We're going to throw to the video right now, and then hit me up if you want to shoot a video.
Who are we watching?
Good question. It says at the beginning of the
Oh, it
video.
does?
So,
Okay, then you're good, man.
the artist name is YK.
Like YZ.
Easy, killer.
Go ahead.
Sorry
Good interview.
we were really unorthodox. I apologize.
I
No,
do
I love it.
apologize.
That
Oh my
was-
God, yeah. I think we were free
When-
spinning there.
When I first came up with the concept for the show,
There's
that's what I
really
wanted.
been.
I wanted to have some base questions, but then I wanted to follow down whatever rabbit holes we wind up
Yeah,
going
and that's a good
because it
approach.
makes it more fun.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys with other interviews be a little bit more stuffy. I don't know.
They are stuffy.
Are they?
Yeah.
No, we like having it.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think it's interviewed all
Because
the
I feel
time.
like that gives you opportunity when you're having a good time to get
So I
out
fix it,
there.
I fix it, I fix it.
Yeah.
Is it like this, right?
Okay, well, aside from
He
that.
started with the drink.
He's like,
It's not kicking in.
So I want to get everybody's information. I could.
Huh?
With 'em. Baby, I'm a villain, you know I ain't saving them. I coach ism, yeah, I run plays with them. Dope pimpin', my bitches play their position. I'm the nigga, and my hitters know. We pullin' cars, don't make shit get physical. Hey, ooh, no, I'm the number one. Don't call me till the money come.
I came here with some real life hitters. Said, pull your car. I walked up with some real bad bitches. They play that part. If it ain't about the money, then you better be gone. Now I'm all up in the trap spot, I'm rockin' V-Long. Came a long way from the trenches, yeah. Through the storm, we still here.